The tour. So this is about a personal exploration of Greek history and culture. So as a Greek American, I was born there, raised here, obviously lived mostly here. I was interested in my roots, right? And this video talks about that. So I looked at 6 historical periods, which are these 6 pieces that you see, and they're summarized here. So they're chronological order, so I'll take you through them. Classical Greek, which we think is the foundation of Western civilization, humanities and such. The Byzantine period, which was important because it established Christianity. You mentioned you go to church. Well, you know, he made
Constantine and right there.
Yeah. I mean, before him, Christians were this fringe. It was basically a Jewish fringe sect that was being persecuted, and he established it and legalized it in 310, and there was a second council in 380.
Well, without the Greeks, Christianity would have died. All the letters from Paul are to Antioch, and it's the Greeks who really kept Christianity alive.
I think so.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Then we have a piece that's about female leadership. So in the War of Independence, 1821 to 1829, against the Ottoman Empire, Greece was unusual because it had 3 military leaders, female naval commanders. So when I was asked to do something for, that period, I thought, okay, I'm not going to do like a warlord with like a big mustache and a craggy nose. I'm going to do a powerful female, the green one.
Yeah.
This one here is the maquette for a much larger piece, and it's about the destruction of Smyrna. So in 1922, again, the Ottomans, there was the conclusion of the Greek-Turkish War in 1922. So basically the Greeks got pushed into the Mediterranean Sea, many died. My grandmother escaped, and so this is kind of a monument to her, but it also was selected by the city of Athens because 2022 is the centennial. So September 14th, when this is being unveiled, is actually the 100 years of the days of the burning of Smyrna. And this is the big one is, it's probably to about the height of the ceiling. So it's a bigger piece. It's probably about 50% larger as a piece, and then it's on a taller pedestal.
So this is your study. This is a study.
This is the maquette. Yeah, you could call it a study. I mean, it's a finished piece in and of itself. Maquette, M-A-Q-U-E-T-T-E, maquette.
Is it French?
Originally, yeah. A lot of the terms are.
Yeah.
Charrette is the closest example. Yes.
Right.
But a maquette can sometimes be, when you look at the history of sculpture, the maquette. There's a lot of Rodin maquettes where the maquette stands on its own.
Well, because it's by Rodin.
Yeah, exactly. And then here, this is about, I call it Man of Two Wars. So sadly in Greece we had a Nazi occupation in the 40s, and then we had a civil war. So as soon as the Nazi occupation they actually overlapped. So the Civil War started before the Nazis left, and then it ran like another 4 or 5 years. So it was awful and part of it was Soviet forces battling, Western forces for control of the Balkans, and they actually won, and Albania and Bulgaria, and those became Soviet blocs. But in case of Greece, the Western forces and the government were able to win. So this is about that, and I'll go back and tell you more. And then this is, after all this heavy, negative experiences, but sadly that is life. This is more the present, looking to the future. So it's about the hopes we have for our children. It's my daughter posed for this one. So to go take a step back, each of these is a family member. So this is my mother from young, she's still alive, but these are from young photograph. These are from photographs of her as a young person. She was around 20, black and white photos. And one thing that, maybe it was true in the United States, but less so, in Greece in this period of time, everyone was super thin. And they weren't super thin from a diet point of view. They actually had not enough food to
eat, right?
So you kind of see that in her. And then this one is my father, who is deceased. So this one's from photographs. This is my old studio, by the way. You asked about my studio. This is my prior one.
Still in Long Island City?
No, this is actually on West 8th Street. And I had the studio for 4 years, and I just moved to something larger and nicer than that. This piece, you hit on it. Basically, if you talk about the Western world where you and I function and are trained and such, these are the 2 main themes, the humanities and then Christianity. And I think it was around 310 where Christianity was legalized. It was no longer persecuted. and then it was around 380 where it was made the official religion of the Roman Empire. So at that point, it created the foundation that you and I are now enjoying. So basically, this is my father posing, and in each one, I'm trying to capture a feeling. This is the Revolutionary War.
Yes, I saw that you had that photograph in the brochure.
That's right. So this is, as I was saying, I was interested in, and that'll relate to this piece. So this is my fiance that posed for this. And I'm combining obviously all their family members, but in some cases they're live posing like this one. This is the most famous of the three commanders.
Strong woman, yes.
Strong woman, yeah. And these were women, they were generally wealthy, and the war was not well financed because there was no country. And so if you were a wealthy woman and you wanted to put on a fighting unit, if you wanted to hire ships and hire people, you could do that, and these three women did. This is another
classical
face, right? This is Mavro
classical
Genush,
face.
and this is Domna Vizvizi, who's the least of the well-known. So that's what this is about. The other thing I do here, and you probably noticed this.
Such a handsome. It's really is. It's just love this piece.
Love this piece?
Yeah,
Let me draw your attention to one more thing here. So for each one, what I do is I talk about historical. I have a theme. This is about female leadership. I talk about what historical period it's referring to or drawn from. I talked about the media and the size. The model, I give the specific model name. This is Eleftheria Gufa. My relationship, fiance, so mother, father, fiance, grandmother, that's a self-portrait, and daughter behind you. And I talk a little bit about sculptural precedents. So in each case, as a sculptor, well, this is a whole theory in itself, but as a sculptor, as a painter, some people believe you have to know art history and like tap into art history, and then some people believe it's better if you don't know art history, but I'm of the first category. So each of these refers to art history, at least one sculpture that occurred, over time. So I looked at that, and why do I care? It's because I usually pick a piece, that's this piece. Look at that there.
Oh yeah.
So here, the other thing you discover as you do sculpture is in the age of the internet, no one actually wants to pose for 12 hours. So, I often have to work from photographs, even for people who are very much alive. So you can see here how I work. So, I took photographs from every 45 degrees, and then I measure the face, and then I kind of start carving away.
There she is.
Huh?
There she is.
There she is, yeah. And that's the final, obviously.
Yeah.
So just on the sculptural precedent, and this is in the brochure. This was a piece that's in the Vatican. This is based on, but if you looked at the original piece, it's not, this doesn't look like it. Well, actually, I'll show you what it looks like. We already have this, and you should take a couple of my cards here. So this, I'm talking here about, so this was the original. So this is the sculptural precedent I'm referring to. And, there's some similarities. Obviously, the face ended up being different to conform more to my mother. When you look at it, the only thing that I worked this and reworked this, the only thing that stayed the same is the hairband.
And the tilt of the head.
And the tilt,
And the tilt of the head, yeah.
and the carriage.
Yeah, that's right. The tilt of the head, and then also this rather odd sternum. But that's how the sculptural precedent works. This one we wrote down. So here the sculptural precedent is this. It's Burgers of Calais.
So I see Rodin.
You see? Yeah.
But who's this artist? The one?
This is
That's
the
a-
original, you mean?
Original.
It's Thalia. It's a Greek.
Recognize it.
Hellenistic.
You've been to the Vatican Museum?
Yes, but I recognize it just.
This is it's a British. It's a Roman copy, 2nd century AD of an earlier Greek piece. So a lot of what we think of as classical Greek sculpture is actually a Roman copy, and the Greek original perished. So this is an example of that. This is a Greek original recopied by the Romans, then inspiring George. This is a piece from Florence, which helped me with this one here. So that's the Pietà, that's the deposition. So here, this is, do you see there was a head here, Nicodemus? So, or Nicodemus, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
Was
So
that
that
was
head,
that a
that head, you know, influenced, you know, the mood and the angle of the head, and then the cowl.
yeah, and yes, and the mourning, deep mourning.
It's about the dignity of having to rebuild. You know, you lost everything. And she was from a prosperous family, and they ended up in a different city.
Accepting the unacceptable.
Yeah, the unacceptable, or the unforeseen.
Yeah.
So she ended up in a different city where they weren't welcome, and they were poor. So they went, you know, within a few weeks, they went from being in a cosmopolitan city, and her father was doing quite well financially, to being in a different city. Not only did they lose everything financially, but they weren't even, the locals weren't friendly. The locals weren't saying, come here, well, you know, we'll take care of it. The locals were saying, why are you here?
Right, right.
Right.